Hi, I'm Merrick D'Amato, and welcome back to Let's Play Sherlock Holmes' Secret of the Silver Earring on the PC. Last time we investigated and looked for clues, now we have to research those clues, because that's the other half of being a detective. So as Watson, we're going to look at some books. Book about footprints. We can deduce the height and mass of any individual through a simple examination of their footprints left upon the ground. This is possible even should their stride be unremarkable. The stride is often shortened when the individual is moving with great caution to avoid detection either prior to or immediately after they having committed a crime. This hypothesis corresponds to almost every case. There are some exceptions. False conclusions are possible when the person who left the footprints comes from a region of the world where the morphology in regards to the feet is unusual. Consider the Chinese tradition imposed upon females born of noble families. They are compelled by such tradition to have their feet bound and squeezed from a tender age till the day of their wedding. This creates a significant disparity between the size of their feet, artificially deprived of natural growth, and the rest of their body. The probability of encountering such anomalies is remote. However, this work would not be complete if they were not included. The following table indicates the correlation between the shoe size and the average stature of people. Size 10, 1 meter 90 centimeters. 9.5, 1 meter 85 centimeters. 9, 1 meter 80 centimeters. 8.5, 1 meter 76 centimeters. 8, 1 meter 72 centimeters. 7.5, 1 meter 68 centimeters. 7, 1 meter 64 centimeters. 6.5, 1 meter 60 centimeters. The same reasoning applies to stoutness. It is logical to presume that a corpulent man will leave deeper impressions in the soil than a leaner man. You should adapt your interpretation of these footprints to consider the type of stride. A running man will leave his mark, as we have noted, with a deeper impression at the toes in relation to the entire footprint. In regards to a typical or reduced stride, you need to walk beside the footprints and compare the respective impressions. If yours are deeper, it means that the author of the studied impressions is lighter in weight than you are, and vice versa. Due to the effect of various conditions such as lawn, the ground may not be susceptible to this form of analysis. From our experience, when the footprints are barely detectable in grass, as when the ground is scarcely broken, the person's weight is no more than 140 pounds. Ballistic science! Thus, it is easier to derive information about the author of a revolver shot if we know that they had aimed with great care. The situation is ideal if the shooter was in an enclosed space. Under pressure, a portion of the powder normally adheres to the walls at the level of the shooter's eyes. It is enough to add approximately 15 centimeters to the height of the powder marks to arrive at an approximation of the shooter's stature, accurate to within 1 or 2 centimeters. And study of tobacco. After authorization, this local herb is mixed with tobacco leaves in the manufacture of cigarettes, primarily by the Chirapaki, so not Cheroot, my bad, company. It is unlikely that this particular blend of tobacco would be found any place other than Brazil or even outside the Amazonian basin, primarily because of the calming effect this tobacco mixture is a significant cause of industrial and agricultural decline in the production of this tobacco. It is common to encounter a Brazilian peasant who indifferently watches a bird steal the tobacco seeds that he has just planted in the ground. Invariably, you will also observe a small pile of the flaky ash, interesting, characteristic of this tobacco, near his feet.
Here is information which could be really helpful in our investigation. These Chirapaki cigarettes come from Brazil, and they seem to contain narcotic substances. What might they be?
Ask Holmes all about
I need to analyze the evidence found at Sherringford Hall. A piece of white cloth, a small box, various powders, and finally the hair. Let's get to work. I need to analyze the evidence.
Lab time.
To analyze the nature of these stains, I must first soak the cloth in a solution of soap and water.
So water, soap. Inexplicably, we have to heat this.
To analyze. Now I shall place this cloth in the solvent. The stains are sticky, but not very oily. Let's examine it under the microscope. A very fine white cotton. What would be the reaction if I heated this powder? Burnt gunpowder.
Okay, so that's gunpowder.
Let's examine it under the microscope. Let's examine it under a man's hair. Let me study this more closely. A box containing some white powder. Let's examine it under the microscope. Let's examine it under the microscope. These powders are similar. I can see it from the grains. What would be the reaction if I heated this powder? It has no effect. Let's mix some water with this powder, a glue or pasty substance, like starch.
And finally,
let's examine it, a light feminine perfume. It seems to me that we have gathered all of the key elements, Watson. However, before we retire, let's summarize our findings. The questions should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Now, I've played most of these games, so I will say that reading is going to be a big part of these games. Using Holmes's lab is going to be a big part, and this. And making sure you're paying attention, analyzing findings, and finding things to prove your suspicions is going to be a big part of this. So, do we have an idea of the weapon used for the crime? We do, and we know that because the second time we spoke to Colonel Patterson. Could the murderer escape through the stairs going to the second floor? No, because of what we know from Mary. Ashes found in the smoke room. Are the ashes found in the smoke room from English cigarettes? No, because we found the cigarette. And we just read The Study of Tobacco. Was the side door going to the kitchen open after the shot? No, because we know from Satterthwaite. Did Miss Lambert choose the tablecloths and arrange the tables? No, she did not. We know that from Miss Lambert herself and the cook, Carl Panister. Do we have an idea of the murderer's height? We actually do. Because there was the markings. Ballistic science backs that up. Among the interrogated people, did any others than Colonel Peterson have bad eyesight? They most certainly did, which we know because Miss Lambert told us what the annotations on the guest list meant.
It is simplicity itself, Watson. We have answered all the questions.
Huzzah! 15th of October now. Day 3.
My dear Lestrade, I congratulate you on the precise quality of your notes. It is true that you have missed everything of importance, but you have spared me the trouble of eliminating the trifles and pointed me in the right direction. I hear familiar steps on the stairs.
No, this is the second day.
Please be seated, Watson. You must be famished. Lestrade was kind enough to bring a copy of his notes, hoping it would be of assistance in this affair.
Indeed.
You can study them now and enjoy your meal. Please take your time, Watson, because bad digestion weakens our ability to reason.
Holmes, you will get no argument from me, as this dish is delicious.
We will go to Sherringford Hall with Lestrade when you're finished with your meal.
Also, it's Lestrade.
I must read the documents Holmes gave me.
Yep, well, Holmes is busy clipping into the table, so. The crime. Report on the investigation in the case of Sherringford Hall, Inspector in Charge, Lestrade, 14th of October, 1897. Before 11 o'clock in the evening, Sir Melvin Bromsby, engineer, architect, and contractor of renown, was slain by a single gunshot in his mansion, Sherringford Hall. The crime, the author of which is still undetermined, took place in the ballroom during the reception arranged by the victim in honor of his daughter's return to England. She had spent the last several years at finishing school on the continent. Despite the presence of 100 witnesses, no precise testimony was obtained regarding the exact circumstance of this horrific act. Nevertheless, based on certain evidences, here is a presumption of suspicion towards the daughter of the victim, Miss Lavinia Bromsby. Instrument of crime. Report by Inspector Lestrade, 14th of October, 1897. Instrument of crime. The bullet extracted from the corpse of the victim corresponds to the caliber of revolver found in Miss Lavinia Bromsby's purse. This purse, found on the floor, was near the door from which Miss Lavinia Bromsby first appeared after the mortal shot was fired. All of the witnesses agree that the sound of the shot originated at or near this very same doorway. The revolver is an old small-bore Wright, which is also a highly reliable weapon. This would explain why the only shot fired was mortal, despite a distance of several dozen feet and a difficult angle. Miss Lavinia claims that the victim personally gave her this revolver before the crime for the purpose of her protection against some unnamed threat. This account can be supported by the fact that these models are impossible to find on the continent where Miss Lavinia had spent the last 3 years. Premeditation can be excluded if she is found to be the murderer. The motive. Report by Inspector Lestrade, 14th of October, 1897. The motive. The victim, even if he had few or even no friends, still might not have enemies capable of committing this act. His strong unpopularity among his domestics was compensated by the attractive wages he paid them. His business partners spoke of him as a tough but fair player, according to the criterions of this environment. The fact that he spent long years in India and was solely devoted to his business precludes any crimes of jealousy or passion. Finally, the modus operandi doesn't correspond to the typical revenge killings by this or that Hindu sect, though these things do happen. The motive then must apply to his holdings or something quite personal. Another line of reasoning that points to Miss Lavinia Bromsby. According to H. Grimble, the partner of Sir Bromsby, her relationship with her father had become so strained that Sir Bromsby visited his daughter only once during these past 6 years. A local constable must contact Mr. H. Fowlett, the attorney of Sir Bromsby, in order to recover the essential parts of his last will and testament if it exists. The development of the crime. Report by Inspector Lestrade, 14th of October, 1897. The development. With regard to the distance and angle of the shooting, it would be reasonable to suppose that only an expert marksman could have succeeded in making such a shot, but the factor of probability still exists and admits other possibilities. The testimony of the group of cabmen, who were in the ideal place to have observed such matters, saw no one leave through the service door after the shooting, and up until the time when one of the domestics locked it from the outside. All the windows were equipped with thick bars, and the fortuitous presence of the maid at the stairwell indicates that no one ascended to that floor. The testimony of Miss Lambert, the governess, indicates that she noticed only 2 people absent from the ballroom during Sir Bromsby's arrival. Mr. Horace Fowlett, the victim's attorney, and Miss Lavinia Bromsby. The domestics had been specifically instructed that all the guests were to be present during Sir Bromsby's entrance. I have been persuaded by all accounts that anyone who had left the ballroom had returned before Sir Bromsby's entrance. Since Horace Fowlett hasn't gone through the gates of Mansion Sherringford Hall, the only person whose movements were unaccounted for at the time of the shooting is Miss Lavinia Bromsby. The chivalrous testimony of a young infantry officer who has confirmed that he saw her standing at the threshold of the door can be the only reason for not charging her with murder. As Miss Bromsby was in a state of deep shock last evening, according to the local doctor who examined her, her interview was delayed until today. Scotland Yard report. General information about the man called Sir Melvin Bromsby. No artificial involvement as defendant in any criminal or civil matter. No appearances as a witness in a criminal or civil law case. Complainant as to a robbery committed at a fair stand in St. Bartholomew in July 1861. Judgment of the court was favorable for the crown. And Melvin Bromsby. Here's Sherlock. Here's all the information that we know about the late Sir Melvin Bronsby. Born in 1842 in Staffordshire as a modest family, he finished his studies of architecture and civil engineering, owing to the scholarship and financial assistance of his elder sister, who owned a florist shop. After he was awarded his diploma, he was employed by a small firm, which he later left for a large enterprise, the Salinger Company. In 1872, he was sent to India to assist the construction of a bridge for the army. At the end of this project in 1874, he left his position with Salinger and found his own enterprise in Bombay. At the same time, he courted Carlotta Campbell, the second daughter of Colonel Campbell, OBE, Commander-in-Chief of an important local garrison. The military appreciated Bronsby's straightforwardness and business acumen. Thus, the army entrusted him with many contracts for constructing barracks and other types of work. In 1877, he was married to Carlotta. His business flourished, and he hired a young accountant, Mr. Grimble, who later became Bronsby's personal assistant. An ideal candidate for the position, Grimble excelled at his various administrative tasks. Sir Bronsby's business has continued to prosper over the years. In 1879, Carlotta Bronsby, née Campbell, died, giving birth to their daughter Lavinia. Bronsby's business enjoys great success. However, the fact that he has been awarded nearly all of the Army's civilian contracts has aroused the jealousy and suspicion of other British businessmen in India. It has been rumored that he gained his fortune through the exploitation of his Indian laborers and British workmen, poor working conditions, and miserable wages. In 1884, upon learning of the death of his elder sister, he decided to return home and prepared the transfer of his business interests to England. He also invested his money in several cement factories, which permitted him to reduce his costs further and thus increase his profits. In 1891, he sent his daughter to study at a finishing school near St. Moritz in Switzerland. She has just returned to England several days ago. He was awarded a knighthood in 1892. There are several cases where his name has been mentioned because of suggested fraud with his contracts and ill usage of convict laborers at his factories. Such practices are common in London business circles, and his wealth allowed him to avoid scrutiny by the courts. Thus, when his behavior is weighed within the current climate of commercial morality, he is neither angel nor demon. Assuming his business assets are included, his squared fortune would be measured in the tens of thousands of pounds. I would make him one of the wealthiest contractors in Britain. I wish you good luck in this case, Lestrade.
All this is very interesting. According to the
Beg to
evidence,
differ.
it seems that the shooter was not in the ballroom or the corridor. Where was he then?
Are you finished, Watson? Shall we go? Let us return to Sherringford Hall. Cabby!
Oh shit, she's floating.
Sirs, please, go right in.
Oh, thank you. Very nice of you.
Please wait here, gentlemen. I will see if Miss Lavinia is receiving callers. She's in her room.
Well, we're the police, so she doesn't really have a choice, but okay.
Well, Mr. Grimble, I didn't expect to see you here at this hour.
I am worried about Miss Lavinia, needless to say. I also thought I might learn something of interest about the investigation. This difficulty, if it persists, can do great harm to the business.
Sir Bromsby and Miss Lavinia had rather strained relations, it seems.
Well, Sir Bromsby and Miss Lavinia have never got on very well. Of late, their distance had grown due to the influence of several incidents.
What sort of incidents, precisely?
I do remember one instance in India, where Sir Bromsby attacked a friend of Miss Lavinia. He was our native cartman's son. It seems he spilled a jug full of water that was intended for Sir Bromsby to wash his face. Bromsby began cursing and thrashing the boy before his daughter's very eyes. Miss Lavinia took her friend's part and spoke to her father most rudely.
The devil, you say? What occurred next?
There is no one in the whole of India who would have dared address Sir Bromsby in such a manner. He stayed closeted in his office for the entire day. The next day he fired the carter. But despite these incidents, I am still sure that Miss Lavinia sincerely loved her father.
I'm sorry, but I have to go.
All right, as you wish. I shall remain here.
I have to leave you, sirs. I need to verify certain things.
You don't get to move that fast. That will change in later games.
The more we consider the facts of this affair, the more mysterious it becomes.
The important thing is to be precise and rigorous in your analysis. But at Scotland Yard, we know this well. Reminds me a bit of bad business I resolved. I believe it involved a theft of sticks from a polo team.
I have myself engaged in this sport but a few years ago.
Really?
Do you enjoy the sport of polo, Mr. Grimble? No. You cannot imagine the benefits of this sport. To achieve perfect form and union, man with horse.
A little like the waltz, eh?
Exactly. Except that with this sport, mounting is at full speed, which complicates things singularly. I don't follow you.
The team from Brixton, in my opinion, is the finest example of how polo should be played.
Perhaps they may well be. But what would you say about that last match of the Old Goats Rangers?
They were absolutely splendid. But what of the Brixton team?
Weren't they the cause of some ruckus about a matter of corruption?
Jeez, I thought they never stopped talking about fucking polo. Bennington, hey.
May I come in?
Well, oh, take that!
Pardon me. It is already quite dead, you know.
Oh, you frighten me! I have a case of the nerves, you understand. I cannot find my bottles.
On the table.
No, not those! That is a poor vintage. The 2 bottles that the old crap, God rest his soul, ordered up from London for the party. Both were 18-year-old whiskey, perfect for the digestion and the heart's sorrows.
And who could have taken them?
I'm sure that the barman from Hertford stumbled them. Who else would know to take those particular bottles over the others?
That's a good point.
Very good. I will leave you to your chicken then.
That's it.
Hello, white gloves.
To whom does this belong? A handbag of Lavinia Bromsby. I do not favour ransacking a lady's personal property, but I think she will be understanding. A programme for the London Opera.
And Harrington's letter. Excuse my boldness, but I do believe my most sincere condolences and honorable affections in this terrible time. I cannot excuse myself if I allow you to face all this on your own. I ordered my valet to come to move my possessions to the Queen's Arm, which is nearest into Sherringford Hall. I would be greatly honored if you would allow me to make myself useful to you at my new lodgings. I am but a few minutes away, should you require my assistance. Took care to forget my gloves at your mansion so that my visit to call upon you would not invite any undue speculations or gossip. Sincerely and eternally yours, Lieutenant Lewis Harrington. Interesting.
I feel quite ready to answer your questions now, Mr. Holmes. Yesterday I was not in my right senses. I do want to encourage you, on the sound advice of Mr. Grimble. He explained to me that everything my father built during his entire life may collapse unless this gossip ceases and this matter is resolved. Do you agree, Mr. Holmes?
Whatever the truth is, I will reveal it.
I feel quite ready to answer your questions now, Mr. Holmes.
Whatever the truth is, I will reveal. First of all, it is necessary for me to know your acts and your movements during this unfortunate event.
First I attended my appearance in the powder room. Then, as my father requested, I was standing quietly just inside the ballroom. I powdered my face one last time, while everyone, including myself, was watching my father. Suddenly, I heard this noise from behind me, and then I saw my father stagger and fall. Oh, my dear lord. So I ran to his side and found that he was dead.
What was your relationship with your father?
We barely saw or even wrote to one another for 6 years. But the father that met me upon my return was not the man I remembered. Something in his eyes had changed. There was a wariness there, and perhaps even some unexplained anxiety.
Forgive me, but it seems Lieutenant Harrington has made himself responsible for your care.
Oh, he has proved himself to be most gallant and considerate. I have no friends here, other than Mr. Grimble. Mr. Harrington neither requested nor expected any recognition for his kind interventions, and was most attentive yesterday evening.
Thank you for answering my questions, miss.
Oh, it is me who should be thanking you.
As I mentioned to you before, if this investigation is to proceed properly, it'll be necessary to examine your father's personal documents. May we see his office? I suppose Sir Bromsby kept his papers in this drawer.
Watch out!
Good God!
It must be one of Fowlett's inventions. Sir Bromsby mentioned he had asked his lawyer to devise security measures to protect his private documentation.
That can't be legal.
I remember now that Fowlett has a unique passion for mechanizations and automatons. I had no idea what kind of devices he had created.
Inspector Lestrade, I give you leave to tend to your appearance. I doubt you can return to the yard in such disrepair. I will now examine this room according to my methods. I need something. A Masonic symbol, no doubt.
Oh, great. More nonsense blaming shit on the Masons.
The young Lavinia, with her grandfather, no doubt. page from this book has been marked. Let's examine it.
It's holding a rifle. Letter from Fowlet to Grimsby. My dear friend, I would not miss this reception at any cost. I cannot help but envision the sight of Miss Lavinia's eyes when you make your announcement. Fear not, I have not received any bad news from my friend, the customs official. I will see you then on the day after tomorrow. Your friend, Horace Fowlet. P.S. This book can certainly help you to understand my preferences in art that you found so debatable during your last visit. One more challenge. Medieval French art. First example of this art, from now on named crude colored woodcuts, dates back to the first decade of the Middle Ages. At that time, there was neither any artistic nor other rationale for hiding one picture inside another. The motivations were sometimes subversive, because certain subjects were forbidden to be artistically represented. Today, this technique is still rarely used, and the great majority of crude-colored woodcuts conceal only animals or joyful personages in baroque landscapes. Piece of book, piece of newspaper.
It is the pieces of the English edition of the Indian newspaper.
Burned paper with code. Remember that I still have the original of the puzzle concealing the code in my 55 is the number to be found adding. To the newspaper, The Bomb, probably the Bombay Times, 2109-96, and piece of book, translated from French, Jean de Le Fa. Okay.
This bridge is quite impressive. It must have been a considerable undertaking.
Bronze in front of the Kalidasa Abyss. Interesting.
Look here! This message just came for me. 2 days ago, Mr. Horace Fowlet was seen leaving for the North Country. The constable for the town of Flatton, where the solicitor resides, obtained this information from Fowlet's neighbours.
I have a bad feeling about this, Watson. What would you say to a short jaunt to Flatton to finish off our day?
No objection at all, Holmes.
The Flatham Station. I wonder if they're going to walk there at this speed.
Cabby!
Hello, gentlemen. Constable Fletcher here.
Good day, Constable. Can you help us?
Yes, Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard wired me about your arrival and instructed me to do as I would with the inspector himself.
Would you be so good to take us to the neighbours who spoke of that night?
Come with me. Here we are.
Excellent!
Graham, this is a detective from London. He would like to hear what Mr. Fowlett told you that night.
So Mr. Fowlett left?
Yes, he made his departure the day before yesterday, in the night. Not that this is the first time he's behaved in such a way. Anyway, he's not like others, and it didn't seem odd to see him leave at that hour, despite the heavy downpour.
And how is he, this Fowlett?
I'd call him an eccentric, you see. Not that I have anything bad to say about the man. His place is full of baubles with springs and mechanisms. There have been explosions. Yes, upon my word, explosions. But the next morning, there he'd be, always ready to wish me a good day.
Interesting.
Did you actually see him depart?
Well, the shutter on the barn had come loose and was beating about in the wind. I went out to set it straight in that moonless night. Then there he was. I saw him leaving. I shouted out, "Hey there, Mr. Fowlett!" He waved and shouted something about leaving for the north for a fortnight.
Do you know where he went?
I couldn't quite make him out with all the wind and rain, but it seemed to me he left on some business matter. I think a fellow came to talk to him about something.
Interesting.
Well, it may be nothing, but if you think that the things he has in there might explode, you should better go and check.
Do you know a way into Fowlett's house?
Here's the key to the door that he left with my wife. If you don't mind, I won't accompany you. I prefer to remain alive and in good health a good bit longer.
Fair enough.
You say he had a visitor?
Oh, I don't know. It seems to me I saw someone at his place at nightfall. But people often visited old Fowlett at odd times. Fellows who brought him pieces of I don't know what for his contraptions. There was also a friend who often came by. I think his name was Sir Glumsby or Flomsby. But it couldn't have been him, because he's much taller than the chap I saw.
Thank you.
Good. I will go see what I can find. Wait for me here.
As you wish.
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
Constable Fletcher, I must ask that you allow me to enter alone. Do you agree?
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
And now, Watson, if you could be so kind to return to the station and speak with the station master. Question him until you are satisfied that you have a detailed description of the party who took the last train to the north 2 days ago.
My pleasure.
As soon as you are done, please return here. Keep close watch, for I may need your assistance inside.
Goodbye.
Wait for us.
All right.
I can run. Lovely.
Closed. My word, I can't see anything.
Okay, we're in. Oh, that thing breathes fire.
Fowlett liked his jests. I need to be cautious. These items may contain traps, such as those found in Bromsby's office. Size 6. It is a size 7. What an odd house.
Jesus fucking Christ.
These paintings are from the town of Epinal.
There's a deer hidden on the tree trunk there.
There might be another drawing hidden among these pictures. Let's examine them carefully.
I see a bear here. There's a crab there. And there's an eagle here. Ugh, I really don't like this thing.
I need a token to play this automaton.
Well, I'm relieved we don't have one, because that's a fucking nightmare.
Look, what's this?
It's a wood toy of some kind.
These books warrant a closer look.
Sir Brownstein from... poetry. Translated from French, Jean de La Fontaine. Fables, The Villager and the Serpent. Aesop tells of a peasant, charitable but not too wise. One winter's day was traveling around the land he lended and saw a serpent stretched out in the snow. Cold and frozen, paralyzed, having little time to live, the villager took him home and, without considering the cost of such an action, laid him out over the fire, warmed him and revived him. The frozen serpent began to sense the warmth which revived his soul as well as his evil nature. He lifted his head a bit and whistled, coiled his body, and then struck against his benefactor, his savior and his father. "Ingrate," said the peasant, is thus you repay me? You will die." And with these words, in righteous rage, he took a knife and sliced the beast, making 3 serpents with 2 cuts, a trunk, a head, and a tail. The evil one tried to rejoin himself, but to no avail. Charity is a virtue, but be careful toward whom. There's no point in showing it to ingrates who seal their own doom. Remember he mentioned the serpent and the peasant.
A pheasant and a serpent, the very symbols found on Sir Bromsby's speech. I need something. White flaky ash. Blood. Blood. Gin.
Blood, gin. Alright. Something definitely happened here.
I can see a faint gleam. Ah, now I see better. The blood was cleansed with this mop. An automatic shoe brush. What an inventor this Fowlet is.
Okay. Now, on the diagonals, it has to add up to 55, because that was the code, remember? Ooh. I got a coin. I can play the terrifying clown now.
Fowlet created this device to most likely perfect his invention. Very interesting. These are old award certificates from automation invention competitions. I need something. I need something. These are old award certificates from automation invention competitions. The pillow is missing. Greasy substance. Very interesting. There is Fowlet. He is not tall and appears to be quite obese.
Interesting. Now we can go see the terrifying nightmare clown. Wait, what's in here?
Closed.
Oh, fair enough. I'll do whatever the clown wants us to do, and then we'll probably call an episode.
I shall select a card to find the logical sequence of what this automaton displays.
What card do you play? What card do you play? What card do you play? You won.
Aha! He lifted his head a bit and whistled, coiled his body, then struck against the benefit. Oh. Charity is a virtue, but be careful towards whom there's no point showing. Oh! Oh, that's the poetry again. The first animal came from the shore, was afraid of the powerful waves. The second came from the valley, was afraid of the river with fast streams. Third came from hills and was hiding from the downpour. The last one that Noah welcomed came down from the mountains. It wasn't afraid of water, but it heard the wrath of the Lord roaring. Huh. You know, this also sounds very like part of a Resident Evil puzzle. Guess we'll do this puzzle as well.
An automatic shoe brush.
Aha!
The animals must enter Noah's Ark in the proper order.
Okay, so first is the crab. Then it's, I think this is the deer. Then it's a bear.
It is elementary. Someone tried to force this safe.
A letter from Bronzy to Fallet. My dear friend, as I told you during my last visit, the difficulties between Grimble and my nephew have taken a critical turn. It seems that this ungrateful young man has gained the upper hand. and if he doesn't complain anymore, the foreman and some of the workers are doing it for him. I beg your help. I don't think that young Wyatt is a ne'er-do-well, but his acquaintances here in London have a negative effect on him. Would you kindly tutor him in his studies far from the city? I think that in your company he would find real value and would return to the right path. I'm eternally in debt to his poor mother and cannot stop thinking about his future well-being despite his ingratitude. Your friend, Melvin Brosby. Audience text. Miller, Simpson, Kirby, a Hollands case. The court returned a verdict of guilty for Mr. Miller and Mr. Kirby as accessories in the accidental death of Louis Castiglietti during the brawl at the place named the Inn of the Golden Apple in Dexham on the night of the 20th to the early hours of 21st of February 1892. Mr. Kirby and Miller have been sentenced to 3 years of hard labor. The court returned a verdict of guilty for Mr. Miller, Simpson, Kirby, and Collins. The charges of said robbery. Said robbery took place at the Inn of the Golden Apple during the night of the 20th and the morning of the 21st February. Mr. Miller, Simpson, Kirby, and Collins are each sentenced to pay a fine the amount of £125 to Mr. I cannot read this font. Letter from Caracas, Venezuela, 1605-1894. Dear Mr. Fowlett, I personally welcomed the nephew of our friend. This Wyatt Collins doesn't seem to be a bad fellow at first glance, but I think he needs a firm hand. He was hired as a supervisor for the copper mines near the border. I believe that the hard-working way of life we lead will have a healthy effect of him. Sincerely yours, Chief Foreman. So,
Holmes, Murray has just found a key in the garden.
Ooh. We'll investigate that key next time. Till then, I have been Merrick D'Amato, and ciao. Hi, thanks for watching. This has been played and recorded by me, Merrick D'Amato. The art was by Rafael Agrona. You can find a link to their commission page in the description below. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you all next time. Ciao.